Now at 10 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a car catches fire at a Victoria gas station. Find out what happened.
The traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall is the site of a Veterans Day ceremony this evening.
And budget cuts mean no district buses for Victoria West's band and cheer teams to the playoff game, but the community might have a solution.
We're going to be looking high and low for a couple of cold fronts that will actually make it cooler and actually bring us some rain. We'll be looking about that up in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
And Victoria West football looks to advance to the next round of the playoffs versus Gregory Portland. That's coming up in sport.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Shawna Currie.
And I'm Don Brubaker.
New at 10 tonight, a car goes up in flames at a Victoria gas station. It happened at a Citgo gas station on North Lawrence Street near Crestwood. The driver and passenger left the car's engine running while they went into the store. When they came out, they noticed a strange smell and unusual behavior from the vehicle, so they turned off the engine and then the car caught fire. Firefighters quickly put out the flames. No one was hurt. The building awning did have some damage. Well, the Crossroads lines downtown Victoria to honor our veterans. This morning's downtown parade was organized by the Victoria County Veterans Council. It included marching bands, community groups, and other entries showing their gratitude to our heroes. Then Vet Fest was held at Sun Valley Ranch. Vet Fest aimed to connect veterans to valuable resources and help support them. Veterans and their families enjoyed live music and lunch. There was also putt-putt golf and a fishing pond for them to enjoy while learning about resources the community has for veterans.
Warriors Weekend Field of Honor hosted a ceremony to honor area veterans. The ceremony honored all veterans with extra attention showed to Vietnam veterans with a traveling Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall on display. This wall is embossed with the names of over 58,000 soldiers who lost their lives in the Vietnam conflict. Vietnam veteran Martin Garcia says this memorial means a lot to him.
It means a lot. It means that people that serve for the United States, they give their lives because so people here can sleep in peace.
Today's ceremony ended with the playing of taps. The traveling Vietnam Veteran Memorial Wall is 80% of the wall size in Washington, D.C. The wall will be leaving Victoria Tuesday morning. The Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 1029, had their Veterans Day celebration in Yorktown earlier this morning. They saluted local veterans and their families. Let's Grow Texas Ag host Joe Adams, you see him there in the blue, helped auction off items benefiting these local veterans. A portion of Farm to Market Road 3131 in Jackson County is closed for construction. Starting today, the Lavaca Navidad River Authority closed FM 3131 between FM 1593 and FM 1822 to drill and install instrumentation in the embankment of the dam. Detour routes are set up through State Highway 111 and State Highway 172. Signage is in place to guide drivers through the detour. Motorists are advised to expect delays and plan for additional travel time. The road will stay closed through December 20th.
Victoria ISD will not be providing transportation for Victoria West High School students in the band, on the cheerleading squad, or the drill team in order to attend this week's playoff football game in Corpus Christi. The Victoria ISD says the decision was based on budgetary limitations, according to a statement. They claim that they do not have enough buses for travel and don't have enough funds for alternative transportation. Victoria ISD School Board President Mike Mercer says they cut funding to extracurricular activities by 25%, along with even bigger cuts in other departments. In his statement, he says the district is committed to increasing teacher pay to a competitive wage despite the failed voter approval tax rate election. Since the community learned about the travel issue for Friday's game, individuals and businesses have stepped in, trying to raise funds for these extracurricular groups to be able to attend. And this brings us to today's viewer poll. What should schools do when budgets are tight? Cut back on events and travel for all, fundraise to cover those extra costs, ask parents and community for donations, or look at other budget cut options. And jumped up a little bit, a few percentage points, to 56% feel that cutting back on events and travel for all student groups, such as Victoria ISD has done, is the best way to handle having that tight budget. So we appreciate everyone who voted, and if you haven't, we still want to hear from you. Simply go to crossroadstoday.com.
Time to check in on our weather with First Warning Storm Team meteorologist Clovio Perez Mac. I'm telling you, a heat wave in November. Usually turkeys go through that this month.
Yeah, they're the ones that get to the heat wave. Friday, Saturday, and I think yesterday as well, we set new record highs. So this is very unusual. This time of year, we also see the parade of fronts. The first one is taking the remnants of Raphael away. The second one won't do much. This one will be here in about 5 to 7 days, and that may do some help. We'll be talking more about that coming up a little bit later on. Back to you, Don.
Mac, thank you. The Victoria County Public Health Department is hosting a mobile community resource center to help residents with resources like Medicaid and ID documents they need to use. Now, residents can also get referrals to organizations for housing and other assistance. The mobile resource center will be set up on Wednesday at Christ's Kitchen, 611 East Warren Avenue, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. For more information, call 361-578-3561.
A Texas mother is speaking out after her daughter was hit by a car in the parking lot of her high school.
The mother feels campus officers should have responded faster.
For several days, Natisha Walton has held it in, being strong for her family until we speak.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
Yes, it's hard trying to be strong for everybody else.
Walton's daughter, Morgan Johnson, recovering at home after she was involved in an accident at the Side Park High School parking lot. According to them, the teen was walking to a friend's car when she was hit and pinned by a student driver. Morgan's friend witnessed the incident and immediately called her mom.
I called the school because she was screaming, hollering. I just heard a whole bunch of screaming and crying, and nobody was there to assist them.
Walton rushed to the school and claims when she got to the student parking lot, on-campus officers were just arriving. The district says the officers are always on campus, and at the time of the incidents, they were assisting with the school-wide pep rally. But once they were made aware of the incident, they immediately went to investigate. What do you think of the statement?
I should not have beat an officer there, and they're right there on the school at a pep rally. That's my response to it. If it was their child, I think they would understand a little bit better.
President-elect Donald Trump has pledged to weaken air pollution regulations, reverse efforts to slow climate change, and continue to boost oil and gas production. To read the full Texas Tribune article, visit our website, crossroadstoday.com.
Now to the war in Ukraine, with Vladimir Putin watching the results of the U.S. election closely.
Tonight, Russia assembling 50,000 troops, including North Koreans, for a major offensive against Ukraine. Here's ABC Chief Foreign Correspondent Ian Pinnell.
Tonight, with the U.S. election over, all eyes now on Russia's Vladimir Putin and what he'll do next in the war in Ukraine. 50,000 Russian and North Korean soldiers are now massing in Russia's Kursk region, gearing up for a new offensive to drive the Ukrainians out of the territory they seized over the summer. And tonight, the Kremlin denying reports of a call between President-elect Trump and Vladimir Putin. On the campaign trail, Trump promising a swift end to the war.
I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Trump hasn't commented about that alleged Putin call, but the Kremlin saying Putin's ready to talk, adding a Trump administration would be an improvement from President Biden.
Donald Trump's election expected to put pressure on both sides to end the war soon. On the battlefield, that means a fierce and bloody land grab, with the cost in casualties catastrophic. Ian Pannell, ABC News in London.
The Victoria County Public Health Department is hosting an information session for a program aimed at increasing opportunities for workers aged 18 to 26, as well as workers over 26 who are disabled or receive assistance like SNAP. The meeting will discuss benefits provided by the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, including training, education, and job search support. It will be at 1:30 Wednesday at the Patty Dodson Health Center classroom.
Surprising sources of ultra-processed foods in kids' diets, that coming up. These ultra-processed foods challenging common beliefs about healthy choices.
Now, wildfires fueled by strong winds and extremely dry conditions threaten communities on both coasts. We'll have details on that as well.
I am so excited to host the CMA Awards again.
Nashville, here we come.
Hang tight, honey, got a pocket full of money and I'm headed straight home to you.
Randy, what are you doing here?
I'm hosting the CMA Awards with y'all.
Country music's biggest night is almost here. Join us for all the excitement live from Nashville. It's the CMA Awards right here on KAVU ABC 25.
Y'all ready to do this?
I can pull off bell bottoms.
Sure you can, buddy.
More than half of the average kid's diet may come from ultra-processed foods.
The nutritional culprits may not be what you expect. Watch for the ones labeled healthy.
Researchers from University College London found that processed foods make up 47% of toddlers' calories and 59% for 7-year-olds. However, the biggest offenders weren't ice cream, fries, or candy. They were products like high-fiber cereals, flavored yogurt, and breads that are often marketed as healthy. The toddlers who ate the highest amounts of processed foods were 10 times more likely to stick with those foods as they got older. The earlier kids were exposed to ultra-processed foods, the less likely they were to consume natural, whole, and healthy foods later in life. The researchers call for increased policies such as warning labels on foods and stricter school lunch regulations to help curb this trend. The rise in childhood obesity rates make this ask even more important. With this Medical Minute, I'm Allison Cossack.
A former drugstore worker in a small Indiana community was convicted of murder in the 2017 killings of 2 girls who vanished during an afternoon hike. Richard Allen was accused of cutting the throats of 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German. Prosecutors said he forced the girls, known as Abby and Libby, off a trail in February 2017. Allen faces up to 130 years in prison on 2 counts of murder and 2 additional counts of murder while committing or trying to commit kidnapping. Evidence included a recording of Allen confessing to the crime to his wife. Wildfires are burning on both the east and west coast, with dry and windy conditions fueling the flames. Parts of the country are now under air quality alerts due to the smoke.
In Southern California, one fire destroying more than 100 homes in Ventura County. And in the Northeast, one person is dead as a fire burns outside New York City. ABC's Melissa Adon has the details.
Firefighters on both coasts trying to get a handle on major wildfires. In the Northeast, the Jennings Creek fire burning across New Jersey and New York, turning deadly. Police say 18-year-old Daryl Vasquez, an employee with the New York State Parks Department, was killed by a falling tree while battling the fire. This photo taken just hours before his death.
Let's make no mistake, this is one of the worst natural disasters the town of Warwick has seen in many, many years. And if things turn south, the threat to life and the threat to property could really take a turn for the worse.
Severe to extreme drought conditions fueling the fire that has burned more than 5,000 acres and is about 20% contained.
We had a very difficult day with the fire making a major advance, and we had a very fluid situation with the volunteer fire departments backing up the state forest firefighters. We really were able to save every house there.
Out west, firefighters gaining ground on the mountain fire that has scorched more than 20,000 acres in Ventura County and destroyed more than 100 homes, forcing residents out of their homes.
We lost our house in the Thomas Fire in 2017, and we moved to this neighborhood after the fire. And
conditions in Southern California still dry and windy.
What do you need for a wildfire to grow and thrive? You need the dry air, low humidity, and those strong winds. So we have that right now. A wind advisory has been issued for all the areas shaded in yellow.
Wind gusts today could be as high as 60 miles per hour in some places through Santa Barbara and Los Angeles County. This making it that much more challenging for firefighters trying to contain the mountain fire. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Well, good evening, everybody. For us, we don't have that dry, rather that strong wind, but we have the dry air, and that's not been helping our situation either. Right now, we're at 64 degrees. It's quite humid out there. I do believe we'll have fog and low clouds in the morning hours, but it's a thin layer that once the sun comes up, it'll burn off, and we'll head to another day of temperatures well above November levels. Today's high was 91, compares to a record of 93, and we're supposed to be at 75. Remember, November. We'll talk more about your weather and look for some rain coming up in a moment. Well, good evening, everyone. We take a look at the big picture across the Gulf of Mexico. You remember that Friday we had a little frontal system that brought us the cool, dry air. It lasted for 2 days and then it started getting warm. But the remnants of Rafael are right here. You see that? The little circulation. Of course, all the precipitation has stopped and it's hardly a system, but it's sort of the leftovers, debris, cloud cover, and some rain in Florida, as you see right about there. Looks like that would be the end of what used to be Rafael. Now, we, of course, at this time of year, I look for cold fronts. Cold fronts either come from the west or from the north. Very rarely come from the east for us because of the way the upper winds flow. But at this time of year, we need to see something coming in from the west, from the Pacific, because anything that comes from the north would be cold and dry. That would be wet and cold or colder. And so we have this little front that'll pass through here on Wednesday. No big deal, just a wind shift. This one will take a couple of days, but possibly by the time we get to next Monday, we may see that coming through and giving us a much better shot of getting some actual cooler weather around here. But we are in a bad situation. You know, we've been very dry for September, October, and now November. But we're now in a La Nina pattern. What is that? That is when the waters along the equator of the Pacific are cooler than normal. Cool air is dense, and as a result, high pressure builds up over there, and then that serves to deflect all of those big Pacific storms up and over us into the northeast, but it gives much of the southwest, including you and me, a dry and warmer than normal kind of pattern. That's my winter forecast for you. Dry and warmer than normal. And I was saying a moment ago, the Pacific storms. Now here's one Pacific storm. Here's another Pacific storm. This is good. You know, these are good winter storms. The problem is, with La Nina around, a lot of this is going to go up through British Columbia before it comes back down in the northeast side of the country. And so what we need is one of these to come down like this and then come over California and then through us. That will be a good, wet, big storm. But we're just going to hope for the best, okay? Tomorrow, we're looking at 85, lots of sunshine. If you got outdoor work plans, you got no problems at all other than not wearing a sweater because it's going to be 85 in the tropics. Yes, here I am in November talking about turkeys and tropical storms. As of tonight, the Hurricane Center has put a 60% chance that this will become a tropical system. The storm center would develop here and then follow the path of Rafael, go right through between the Yucatan and Puerto Rico, Cuba rather, and then up into the eastern states. I do believe it'll be the Florida Panhandle again, but as far as we're concerned, the frontal systems that keep moving are just going to keep all of that away. So sunny skies tomorrow, looking good. If you're going to be in Puerto Vaca, 82 the high there. Inland areas like Gonzales and Cuero, we're looking at about 85, lots of sunshine, no significant winds. That sort of helps us out. Little front on Wednesday. Hopefully by Monday of next week, we'll see a stronger front coming in and hopefully getting us out of the 80s. That's your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. Time for sports with Maxwell. Over to you.
All right, thanks, Mac. The Calhoun Sand Crabs volleyball team, they look to keep their season alive tonight versus Davenport Wolves at Cuero High School. I'll tell you that game and Victoria West volleyball score coming up in sports. Everyone, we have finally arrived here to the playoffs here in football. And again, I'm going to mention again a couple other teams here for tonight's show. And one of these games I want to look at here is between the Victoria West Warriors. They're facing the Gregory Portland Wildcats out of Corpus Christi, who are 5-5 overall and 4-1 in district play. And West, again, they're getting into the playoffs. They were 6-7 last year, so they're trying to get back on track. Had a great year this year, and they got some great offensive power as well. Dominic Martinez has been awesome, and star wide receiver Tristan Menard. Again, I expect West. I think they can beat Portland here this week. A favorable matchup for them for sure. And another one to look at here in the bi-district round is the Hallettsville Brahmans, but they got a tough matchup versus, again, the Franklin Lions here in this one. Again, they're fresh off a championship appearance last year. Again, they eliminated the Brahmans in the first round, so the Brahmans hoping to respond going into this year.
Tonight we had lots of mistakes. We kicked ourselves pretty bad. If we can get our crap together, I think we'll put them for a run of their money. It's not over. We still got another week ahead of us, and we get our stuff together.
I mean, you understand Franklin's been in the state championship the last 3 years in a row, and you know when they beat us, they've beaten us the last 2 years in the playoffs. So we do know that, but honestly, you know our kids aren't dumb either. You know we've got everything to gain and nothing to lose.
The Brahmas, again, they're going to travel to play Franklin there, again, at Waller High School there this Thursday. Again, it would be a massive upset if they can beat the Franklin Lions, get some revenge there from last year. But now, I'm looking back to our viewer poll here, and again, we got a couple other teams, and I asked earlier who you thought would have the best chance to win the state championship this year, and again, I put out for Ganado, Refugio, Edna, Shiner, or if you had an other, for example. And again, for the 6 o'clock, we saw it was Edna, and it looks like it's going to stay the same here. A lot of you believe the Edna Cowboys. I think they can make a run, too. They got a great offense. Chase Schubert has been outstanding at quarterback. Braylon Harris has been great. I think it's going to be an outstanding matchup there for Edna, but Ganado and Refugio, they're two top teams as well. So we'll have to see. Again, I can't wait for Friday. But tonight, though, we had some playoff volleyball, and the Calhoun Sand Crabs unfortunately lost tonight versus the Davenport Wolves in 3 sets. They lost the first set there 25-13, the second set 25-14, then the third set 25-21. Senior Neva Rangel had a big night though, still for the Sand Crabs, had 5 kills, and again, she helped the team out in general. And then also again, Kendall Vargas had again 23 digs in the night, but they do end 38-6 overall. Congrats to the Sand Crabs just for a great year, and it's just fun mentioning all their athletes, especially Rangel for Athlete of the Week as well. Now, Lady Warriors, they also fortunately ended their season tonight there in the regional semifinals. Again, they fall down again 2-0 there to start off. They did win the third set though for West, but then they would lose there to the College Station Cougars 25-20 in the fourth set. And again, just too much there to handle for them to win this one. And again, it's tough though again for the Warriors and again for Calhoun. There's 2 teams that we want to look at. They're going to be again outstanding. They got a lot of people coming back as well for next year. Then 2 teams, though, that actually didn't get the loss, though, are still in the crossroads, though. The Shiner Comanches won there in 3 sets over the Junction Eagles there tonight. They moved to the regional final. They're either going to face the Burton Panthers or the Harper Longhorns there in that one. Then in 3A Division II, props up to the Industrial Cobras. They beat the Hebronville Longhorns there in straight 3 sets, and they're going to face the Stockdale Brahmas in the regional final at Cuero High School. It's already announced Thursday at 8 p.m., so congrats there to Industrial there in that one. And Goliad, will they join in? They play tomorrow night as well. And then to end the show, also wanted to say this. Jordan Whittington, former Cuero Gobbler, he had actually a 25-yard kickoff return there. Helped the Rams maybe get a couple points, but it wasn't the result, though. They still lost on Monday Night Football tonight, 23-15. And that's going to do it here for sports. Don and Shawna, back to you.
Max, thank you, and stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, we're celebrating, some of us are celebrating, half a century of a pop culture icon. Find out how the Rubik's Cube came to be.
If you have a question for Madison, just ask. Email her at the email on your screen or give her a call at 361-580-6558.
Lovers are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Rubik's Cube. The iconic 3x3 grid has stumped millions of players and sold 500 million toys over half a century. It's amazing how hard it is to solve, but they sell that many.
Yeah.
Hungarian inventor Erno Rubik came up with the first prototype in 1974. He was actually teaching design and wanted a tool for his students. The box went on to become a pop culture icon. Rubik's Cubes can be found in movies, TV shows, and of course in the hands of game lovers all over the world.
A father-daughter team decoded a signal from space, simulating a message from aliens. The message, visualized as white pixel clusters, represents amino acids, the building blocks of life. More than a year ago, the signal was beamed from a Mars orbiting craft and picked up by Earth observatories. It took the team thousands of hours to decode the message. There is intelligent life out there. Yeah, it's good to know.
They decoded the message because I didn't see the message.
Yeah, I don't know what message
I
was
didn't
saw
see
there.
anything in there.
It says, we want more weather from Mac and fewer hurricanes in November.
We want 350 for the turkey, not for us. You know? Well, folks, unfortunately, we continue with the warm, dry weather pattern. I'm just saying that it's dry is kind of not a good thing for us. We need to get some moisture here. The first front on Wednesday is very weak, but it will give us a little bit of a north wind. And the second front on Monday of next week, 7 days from now, may be a little bit stronger. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
All right. We will, for sure. Well, Tuesday is National Chicken Soup for the Soul Day, a day for some self-care, rather. You can celebrate by enjoying some chicken noodle soup. You may need to stick some ice cubes in there, or you can read an inspirational story. You can go to a motivational lecture or group. You can start writing a memoir, true story from your life, or you could even read one of the 250 plus Chicken Soup for the Soul books. They're a collection of true stories written by ordinary people. Had no idea there were 250 of them. The first one was published back in 1993, but the people behind the book series are not behind Chicken Soup for the Soul Day. Just a heads up there. So
books, not kitchen.
Yeah. So there are some good ones, though, out there to pick from. So. Well, thanks for joining us tonight for 25 News Now at 10.
Join Carolina Astorani, meteorologist Parker Cox. 25 News Now Sunrise starting at 5 a.m. Good night.